today we had our second of the 2022 Formula One liveries. It's weird because in NASCAR, the US, whatever you want to say, we say paint schemes. It's weird to say liveries, but that's what everyone else says, so I'm going to say it. Still weird to say, but the second livery revealed of 2022. And just like the first one that was released this year, which was Haas, it's basically the same as its predecessor from 2021. But this one is a little bit bigger of a deal because, well, this one is the defending drivers' champion, whereas Haas is the defending last place champion. Is that even a terminology? But for real, though, the jokes aside, this one is a little bit bigger of a deal because it also included an announcement of a new title sponsor. Red Bull has a new title sponsor. It's been different over the past couple of years. It used to be Aston Martin, Red Bull Racing. Before that, it was, I think, like Renault Red Bull Racing, and it was probably something before that. But the point is, before last year, so 2020 and a few years before that, so I think like 2018 through 2020 maybe, correct me if I'm wrong there, it was Aston Martin Red Bull Racing. Last year it was Red Bull Racing Honda. This year the new title sponsor of Red Bull, Oracle. Oracle, the tech company based in Austin, Texas now, is going to sponsor Red Bull as the title sponsor. They used to be on the car, or they were on the car last year at least, as a sponsor of the team. You know, when the team, they visited a couple of facilities in the U.S., I believe, around the time of the U.S. Grand Prix. So Oracle has been with the team, but now they will be a part of the title sponsor as Oracle Red Bull Racing. Of course, Honda departed after last year, but they are still helping develop or provide engines for Red Bull. I'm a little bit confused on that, to be honest. But Honda is no longer, formally or sponsorably associated with Red Bull. So Oracle decided to step up and to fill in that title sponsor. And there's a couple things that you will see on the car that are pretty noticeable. But overall, the base livery scheme thing it's the same. So let's look at it. From the front, this part actually does look the same. You see the Red Bull on the front wing. You got the yellow. You got the bulls kind of that you can see. New number on the Red Bull. It's the number 1 for Max Verstappen, the defending series champion. Yeah, I think someone said this is the first time since 2013 that there will not be a 3 on the Red Bull car. Daniel Ricciardo was number 3, and then, of course, Verstappen was 33. But this year, the numbers will be 1 for Verstappen, 11 for Perez. And then another one of the slight differences you can see from here. So obviously you got the base that's still the same with the dark kind of paint, but then the red for Red Bull and the yellow on top of that. But on the rear wing, last year it said Honda on the front and the back. This year on the front of the rear wing, it says Red Bull, whereas on the rear wing, it says Oracle now, of course, as we just said. Oracle is now the title sponsor of the team, so they got to put their name on the rear wing. But the front of the rear wing is Red Bull now, so that's different. Also, I haven't read too much about the new car. It's a brand new car, so it looks different. Different things about it, but there's still going to be DRS this year, right? That's just a random question I thought of. Anyways, looking at the car from the side, you can see Oracle right there on the side pod. Last year that was Red Bull. It said Red Bull in really big letters right there, but now it is Oracle, and that's basically the changes on the car. Everything else is basically the same as every Red Bull car, I want to say ever. The big Red Bull on the back of the car that goes up to the top, the yellow, the dark blue. I mean, it's the same paint scheme, just with Oracle instead of Red Bull in a couple of places, and Honda isn't on the car anymore. That's basically the changes. Although I will say the new car does kind of look nice. I like the look of it. I like the rear wing look especially. I like the new tires, the bigger tires. Those look nice too. And I think the number 1 looks really cool for Verstappen. Now, there's going to be a lot of people screaming on social media. There have been people screaming. It's been 2 months and people are still screaming about what happened at Abu Dhabi. Good for you. You be you, but okay. Verstappen's still going to be number 1. He's still the defending champion. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, let's look at some of the other pictures. There you go, to look at the pictures, trying to kill time here so you can see the pictures. Aren't they beautiful? It's basically the same paint scheme. It's been forever, but hey, it is a nice paint scheme, I will say. Livery, sorry. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's nice. It looks cool. It's, I don't know if, are we allowed to call it iconic? But, you know, it's been around Formula One for so long, and you just kind of know that car by this point, so there'd be no point of changing it because it's just so recognizable in the Formula One world. So no point of changing it, but let's look at some of the details of this deal with Oracle and Red Bull. And oh my gosh, this is a big number. It hurts my head to think about. Oracle's 9-figure title sponsorship of Red Bull appears to be one of the most expensive deals in Formula One history, as team title sponsorships have more typically run in the 8 figures in that series. And then here's the number. Oracle has elevated its official partnership with Red Bull to become title sponsor, replacing Honda. Oracle will pay $100 million annually for 5 years. That is $500 million over half a decade. That is a lot of money. Yeah, as I said, one of the most expensive deals in Formula One history. That's just such a big number. $500 million over 5 years. Red Bull's getting paid. That's like, I think there's a cap now. There's like a spending cost or something in Formula One. And I think it's like a couple $100 million, maybe a little bit less. So they basically just covered half of Red Bull's funding. I mean, Red Bull just has to get a couple other sponsors to knock in another double that. But oh my gosh, talk about a big number. Red Bull's probably super happy about that. They just got funding for the next 5 years, guaranteed. And it's like it's a big company, Oracle. So good for them. They got their money. They're going to be able to have funding. They're not going to have to lose sleep over that. Red Bull, I don't think have they ever had problems with funding in the first place? They've always had some big sponsors, and you know, they always put on the shows and stuff, and they do other forms of racing. So Red Bull's never really had financial issues, but yeah, for their Formula One team, they are pretty covered in that realm with Oracle. So they're going to be thanking Oracle. Here's the new logo, Oracle Red Bull Racing. Here's the new fire suits with Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen. Last year, Honda was underneath the Red Bull, but this year they put Oracle on top of Red Bull. That's cool, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, that's all I got for Oracle Red Bull Racing. That's going to be weird to say. Everyone's just going to call them Red Bull still, but you know, in terms of official stuff, Oracle Red Bull Racing. But that's all on that topic. As I said, the livery is basically the same as it's always been. There's no point of changing it. They just moved the Oracle logo around, made it bigger in some places, put it on the rear wing. That's what they did. Good for them. I think like the next 12 days is basically just F1 car reveals, livery reveals. I think Aston Martin's tomorrow. The day after that's McLaren. The day after that is Williams, I want to say. I don't know the full schedule. Basically the next 2 weeks. Livery reveals. We've already seen Haas's, which is the same as last year's. We've now seen Red Bull's, which is the same as last year's. So hopefully Aston Martin does something different. Yeah. Anyways, the next big news, Lando Norris signed an extension with McLaren through 2025. That's a 4-year extension. Pretty big deal. I mean, I thought he signed an extension last year, but I guess it was just like a short-term thing. I don't know the details, but this one's a long-term deal, and apparently he was getting some attention from some of the bigger teams, Mercedes and Red Bull. Now, that's kind of a big deal that he turned those down, or he was willing to stay with McLaren for the long term versus potentially looking at other options at Red Bull and Mercedes, who have really dominated the last decade of the sport. McLaren, obviously a historic team. It's had its moments where it's been the best in Formula One. You look at you look at Lewis Hamilton. He won a championship there, but more prominently, the 80s and 90s, Prost, Senna, they won championships. They almost won every race in 1988. So they've had moments where they were the dominant team of the era or the dominant team of a certain, season or two or whatever. I mean, it was more than a season or two, the 80s and the 90s. That's almost 2 decades. But, they had rivalries with Ferrari and Williams. That's a whole other thing. But, yes, obviously, this is a big deal. He trusts McLaren. McLaren trusts him, obviously. And he thinks that they're building something there. We've seen McLaren go through quite the decade in the 2010s and even the early 2020s. We saw them go from winning a championship in 2008 to winning some races still in the early 2010s, to falling off a cliff, to slowly climbing up the cliff, to third in the Constructors, to winning a race for the first time in almost 10 years last year, but finishing fourth in the Constructors. It's been a roller coaster of a decade for McLaren, and it looks like they're going in the right direction for sure, and Lando wants to be a part of that, and I respect that. He's not going to bolt early or, potentially leave early to go to a team that's doing good now, or potentially sign a contract for maybe next year or something early on for one of those teams. He's saying, you know what, I'm invested in this. Let's stay in this. So respect for him for that, but here's the details. McLaren announced at last year's Monaco Grand Prix that it had exercised its option to extend Lando's contract for multiple years, and in a sign of mutual confidence, the team and Lando have now committed to a 4-year agreement beginning in 2022. So, once again, really cool for both sides. Obviously, McLaren trying to get back to where it once was. Lando Norris very close to getting a win this year. He's got a good number of podiums in his career. Most of them coming from this year. He finished 6th or 7th in the standings this year in the driver's standings, so good for him. But still looking for that first win, but he is him and McLaren trying to build something for the future, and this is the first step towards it in signing a multi-year extension. But trying to think of any other F1 news. I can't. The Red Bull was the one I wanted to cover. That was like a big number. Obviously, Lando extending with McLaren. I was a little surprised because I thought he had signed it last year, so I was like, I didn't see that coming. Not like oh my gosh, I thought he was leaving, but I just kind of thought that it already happened. But good for him, good for McLaren. But it is very interesting that he was getting looked at or talked to from Red Bull and Mercedes. But I can't blame him. He showed a lot of talent. He's shown his skill set. So obviously those bigger teams are going to be wanting to look at that. But that's all I got for today. Videos this week, still to be determined. NASCAR full season preview. We're going to say Saturday still. I'm still going to stick with Saturday afternoon. So hopefully that goes well. Hopefully that has no problems. But other than that, can't think of anything else. I might, react to the livery reveals or something. But I honestly might just wait till all 10 come out and just do like a ranking through 1 through 10. That's easy to do because in NASCAR there's like 40 different paint schemes. It's kind of hard to rank them. Whereas F1, it's 10 cars and they keep the same livery for most of the year, so that'd be easy to rank. So I might just do that, but keep an eye out. Like, subscribe, share if you want. Do what you want. But something you need to do is have a great rest of your day.